tell me, what has a normal day this week looked like for you?
Well, let's see. I wake up almost every single morning, like, dripping wet. Like, I wake up almost every morning just, like, so hot and sweaty just because of my fever. I'll take medicine. I've been taking Tylenol. So I'll take it at night, but then usually by the time I wake up, it's worn off. So I'll wake up and usually the body aches are much worse in the morning, like I said, just because the medicine's worn off. My back has been the worst pain to me. It's like radiating pain from like the top of my neck to like the bottom of my back. So waking up in the morning is usually not fun because until I take my medicine, I usually don't feel very well. But usually I've been really drained lately and really, really fatigued. Like, I get winded just walking up the stairs. So I usually just been staying in my room. I've also been, like, I'm supposed to be doing self-isolation, so I really don't leave my room anyways. But really just, like, sitting in bed, trying to sleep as much as I can. I don't have an appetite really at all, but I've been trying to just eat to get my strength up. Today's been the first day that I've really felt stronger than I have the past couple of days, so that's good. And then, usually it's just a lot of sitting, laying in bed, watching Netflix, and I also am doing online school right now, so I'm trying to balance that too. Luckily, nothing's been too hard, and I'm just kind of in bed anyway, so I might as well do the work. But yeah, very low key days, and I hope every day gets a little bit better. I'm doing better today, a lot better today. Yesterday, like I said, was the worst day so far. I was in a lot of pain all day. I have really bad body aches, especially my back. So yesterday was pretty rough. But then I was able to actually sleep last night for like the first time in like forever. So I woke up this morning feeling so much better. So I'm so thankful that I'm starting to feel better. Hopefully I'll continue to keep feeling better. But it's just so unpredictable. So,
Yeah.
you know.
When did this start? Like, when did you start not feeling
So
well?
the first symptom that like I had, which at the time I didn't even know the symptom, was that on Saturday I lost my sense of taste and smell completely. And at first I just thought it was just allergies, but I still thought it was weird because, you know, like I have pollen allergies really bad, but usually I'll just be like congested, so I can't smell anything. I usually can always taste things. I just like get congested, but I wasn't congested at all, and I couldn't smell anything at all. I couldn't taste anything at all. I can taste when things are salty or sweet, like that kind of thing, but like there's no like flavor to anything. Like I like if you just gave me something random to eat and I closed my eyes, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you what it was. So that was really weird. And I like later that night I was actually on Snapchat and I was just like on the little like news part, and I saw this like Daily Mail story, and it was like new symptoms of coronavirus in young people, like complete loss of taste and smell. And I was like, what? I was like, that's so bizarre. And I asked my dad about it, and he was like, that's not a thing. Like that's not true. Like I've never heard that. And so then that night, so Saturday night, I noticed that I was getting really hot. And so I went to bed and I was like, you know what, I might just be hot. Like I think I'm just like working myself up. It's fine. And then that next morning, Sunday morning, was when I took my temperature for the first time, and it was 100.4. And then, like shortly after I noticed that I had fever, I started having like body aches, but I didn't even think that they were body aches. I just thought I was really sore from working out. And so I just kind of didn't really mention much to my parents other than that, like, I had a fever, and so I was just taking Tylenol. And so I guess this is Monday. So I got tested. I got tested Monday, yeah. So Sunday night, I read an Instagram post from a girl that my sister's friends with in Nashville, and she was like describing almost every single symptom that I had. And so I was like, oh no. And so then Monday, I woke up and my fever was still pretty high. So that's when I went and got tested, was Monday morning, because my dad is a doctor here. And so he had to pretty much get me tested because, you know, just to be safe. But still, like, none of us thought that I had it. Even when I got tested, I was like, I don't think that I have it. And then we got the results back on Tuesday morning.
So what was that process like to get tested, and how do you get results from that? Like, was it sent somewhere, or?
Being tested was really easy. I actually didn't go to the hospital. I went to a internal medicine doctor's office here, and they come out to the car, and it's like a big cotton swab. They put it really far up your nose. It's like very uncomfortable. But they test you for strep and flu first, and then they test you for corona. But they weren't going to test me at first for corona because I have no respiratory symptoms. I don't have a cough, which is really bizarre because it's like a lot of the time that's all you hear is like, do you have a cough? Like, do you have a cough? It's a dry cough. But I've never had a cough the whole time. Haven't had any breathing problems, thank God. I hope I don't get them. But my symptoms were just really out of the ordinary. And so then as soon as I started describing the taste and smell loss, they were like, oh, we've been hearing about this more. And so that's when I learned that it's really common symptom in young people who might not have the regular symptoms that like they're showing and they're talking about a lot on the news and everything. And then I went to Miami for spring break. So as soon as they heard that I had like traveled to Miami, which is like a high risk area for the virus, and that I had been flying, they decided that they would test me. But it was really easy. It wasn't, I've gotten some DMs that have been like these horror stories about people not being able to get tested until they can't breathe on their own. Like, it just sounds crazy. And people waiting like 4 or 5 hours to get tested. I'm lucky that I did not have to do that. It was really quick and easy.
Right. Did someone come out like in a hazmat suit? Like,
Yes. No, they really did. It was so, because I was already like a little freaked out just because I was just so sure I didn't have it. I was just like, just allergies. Like, I'm just sore from working out. It's nothing like this. I just have a fever. I don't know why, but like, it's fine. And then I went to the doctor's office, and this doctor has been my doctor for a while since I was young. But they all walked out in these like hazmat suits, the goggles and the mask, and I was just like, oh boy, this is pretty serious. But luckily they're really sweet about it, and I'm like so thankful that people like them are still working and taking care of us, and you know, putting their lives on the line basically to test people and get people feeling better. So.
And you said your dad's a doctor, so what has his reaction been in all of this?
I wouldn't say he didn't like take me seriously at first, but because my symptoms were so just different from what most people are experiencing, he was just pretty certain as well that I didn't have it. But then it was kind of like his responsibility to get me tested because he's been working at the hospital with patients and stuff. And so then when I got my test results back, they had to test him as well. But his came back negative yesterday, so that was really good. And that was good news. But he's been really calm about it, thankfully. Everyone has been. He's just like, you know, he thinks that a large majority of people are going to get it. So he was just telling me, he was like, you know, if you had to get it at any time, like, this is the best time. There's nothing going on. But he isn't able to work right now because my whole family is quarantined for 14 days at our house. So that's been interesting. I think he's been doing like patient calls over like FaceTime and like with a phone, checking in on people. But I think will be able to go back to work if he goes 7 days without showing any symptoms.
14 days is a long time to be at home and no one
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I know. It's like we can't even go to Walmart or anything. People have to bring us groceries. And we're like, oh, but luckily everyone's been so nice and so helpful.
And you've been in Oxford, right, since you came back from Miami?
Yes.
So do you think people around town have been taking it seriously?
I got back from spring break, and, while I was on spring break, obviously we had kind of started to hear about what was going on. And towards the end of my spring break was when we got the email that our school was moved to online. And so I think after that happened, people started being like, oh, well, this must be more serious than we thought it was. But I still was just kind of like, well, I don't think that I'm going to get it. Like, I'm healthy and I'm really, like, I'm young, and I just don't think that I'm going to come into contact with this. And we had been, doing the Germex, washing our hands and whatnot. But when I got back, I still think that people weren't taking it seriously. Like, college students were all coming back to Oxford. They were having, like, pre-games at their houses. And, like, when I got back, people were still going out to the bars until the day they closed the bars here. And my parents wouldn't let me go to the bars when I got back from spring break because they were really worried about it. But they probably were some of the only parents out of all my friends that really took it seriously. So people were like, coming back, having house parties when the bars closed, all this stuff. And so then when I decided to post that I had it, I got so many people texting me like, wow, this really opened my eyes. Like, I just feel like it felt so like fictional because I didn't know anyone that had it. Like, this is just crazy. And I'm like, I just think it's kind of crazy that it took someone like having to get it and like say that they have it for people to start taking things seriously. But I was glad that I was able to share that because, I mean, it's kind of the only way that we will be able to flatten the curve is people taking it seriously.
What do you make of this before and after? Like, how has this experience changed or kept your views about this whole pandemic the same or made them different?
Oh my gosh, it's made them so different, honestly. Like, I can definitely say that I did not take it serious enough before. I mean, I knew that people had it and I knew that it was serious, but I just was like, it's just, we live in Oxford and like there's like one case and it's like it's fine and I don't feel like I'm gonna get it. And I was so kind of like not angry, but I was like upset with my parents because they weren't letting me like go hang out at my friends' houses and they weren't letting me like go eat dinner with my friends. And now I'm like so glad they didn't let me because luckily none of my friends have started showing any symptoms yet. Not even my friends on the trip with me, which I think that's kind of strange. But looking at it on the other side, I just feel like it is so much more serious than people think that it is. People are like, obviously college students and people my age like don't want to just sit at home. But it's truly like the most important thing that we could be doing. And, people keep asking me like, well, like, what's it like? Like, what are your symptoms? And I've been really lucky that my symptoms have been pretty mild compared to the average person, but I still would not want to have this again. So I just hope that people can start taking it more seriously. I hope people don't have to actually get the virus to take it seriously,